Watch you throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Dive Podcast. I am your host of the Trap or Dive Podcast, Mual. Dre is in here. AJ is still in transit. Coming back from Spain. So who knows where he is, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, but we're gonna get him on this week. If he's not able to make it tonight. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're on the YouTube side of things. What's up, Ben? What's up, Monty? Everybody else that's watching live. If you're on the Twitch, Twitter side, man, what's up? Appreciate y'all checking in. Try to migrate over to YouTube if you can. But nonetheless, we still appreciate you watching regardless. Audio side, hit the button. Rate and review if you can. It takes 10 seconds to do so. And it's free to show you support that way. Disco, what up? You know what time it is, man. This show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Trap or Dive. So make sure you never forget that. First time users, man. You're going to get you some funds in your account. All right. Drake, what's up, player?
It's good, man. Actually, I'm feeling much better. My first drink in weeks, so I'm back.
Like, this man know I do a podcast at 7, and he knows that we have a show at 8 o'clock. So why are you calling me, bro?
Sometimes
I'm right here with you. No.
Kool-Aid?
No, it ain't Kool-Aid.
That shit look red.
But it's red. I'm actually trying. I usually at the crib. I don't go too hard sometimes. Sometimes I mix my tequila with cranberry.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying a cranberry strawberry. It's the same joint that come in like the cranberry can, but this joint is nasty as shit. That little cranberry strawberry joint is nasty as fuck. I don't know. I just wanted to experiment, but I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm after this one, I'm drinking straight.
You know what's funny about tequila, bro? I can only drink tequila if I'm partying. I cannot drink tequila just like in the house chilling. Like if I drink tequila, it's gonna be a hell of a night. That's how I look at tequila.
That's hilarious. Look, I get it. Some is the social, some is the, I just want to lounge around, or I just need a little sip on something. Hey. It depends, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm drinking Espolòn right now. So
okay.
That's something I drink when I go out. It's some Espolòn.
See, I'd be like, pour the shots. Give me a tequila shot. That's when you know I'm done. Once I ask for a tequila shot, the night's over.
Monty is hilarious. First off, that's funny. I told him that I don't drink juice or soda, and like I still feel like that's accurate. I don't drink juice or soda by itself. I only do it if I'm mixing a drink. I haven't drunk juice or soda by itself, Dre, since I was in undergrad, which is like I'm talking about like 2014, 2015. I've been drinking.
You be drinking just water or alcohol when you drink?
Yeah, it's just water. I only drink water. And then if it's time to turn up, I'll drink alcohol. But my day to day is literally just water. It's nothing else.
I mean, that's me most days, but I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I gotta have at least one liquid death sweet tea every day. They only got 6 grams.
What is it?
It's them little joints.
Is it actual sweet tea?
It's a sweet tea, but it come in like the little long, tall like can. It look like an Arizona can, or it look like beer actually. But it's got low sugar, but it's good as a mug, bro. Because I don't like sugar too much. So if I drink something, the sugar gotta be low.
Yeah, okay. Kenny said, "What's up, Kenny?" Kenny said that tequila special, man. Good vibes drink. Depends, bro. I done seen some evil. I done seen some evil people off the tequila, bro. Hey, so look, bro. There's a few things to discuss. I guess let's get the hot topic item out of the way. Derek Forrest made a tweet recently, like within like the last hour, that made me just pop a topic in my head. So
that's your cousin, ain't it?
You know, I'll let the world tell it. You know, he retweeted it when my parents found out his last name was Forrest. So where am I at? All right, so first, Matt Gay. We found that out after the game. A lot of people had their fun with me on Twitter because I was like, bro, there's no way they're not cutting Matt Gay. I was like, y'all might as well just get used to this dude. And not even 3 hours later, they cut him. So like, he's out of there. But I mean, he done already cost you a couple games. So I'm like in my line of thinking, good for them, but also at the same time, it's like, I mean, what good does it do now? Like, does that boost the morale up? Like, does it help the fan base out? Like, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it, but more so in the sense of all in all, they just waited too late. They should have been cut them.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the story of the season in the sense like everything's happening too late. Like, I mean, they're probably going to end up playing Jaden and Terry, and the whole gang's going to be back together when you're out of playoff contention. I mean, I'm with you, though. I actually was surprised they cut him in season. I thought they was going to wait until next year because I'm like, at this point, it's like, all right, the money's already guaranteed. You're not playing for anything. But I don't know. Maybe they wanted one less thing for fans to be coming at them about because, I mean, let's be honest. This was a big miss by Adam Peters. I mean, he hasn't got the kicker position right since he's been here. Like I said, we already talked about, you know, the trials and tribulations they had last year with the kickers. They thought Brandon McManus was going to be the guy. They brought in a couple other guys. Then you think you're bringing in Matt Gay. You give him guaranteed money. Hasn't been bad in his NFL career. Shit, he just been good here. And kickers don't get a long leash in this league. That's just the, you know, reality of the situation of it, especially, like I said, when you're seeing kickers going out here, they're starting to make 60-yard field goals look routine. And everything beyond 50 for Matt Gay just looked like a prayer. So, you know what I'm saying? I guess they felt like they had to make a move, whatever. I mean, they went out and got Jake Moody, former 49er, who Adam Peters was there for when they drafted him. But he's been struggling too, you know. So
ironically, he ain't no better from 50.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, you know, I mean, what for the rest of the season, you're just going to have him. Maybe he auditions well, maybe not. But I think you're going to be in a situation when you come next August that you're going to have some kind of kicker competition going on.
Yeah, I think at this point, a new name is better than Matt Gay. So I think to deal with this for 6 games is cool. Like I think from both standpoints, from a fan base standpoint, they called it a new kicker kind of gets the dogs off him a little bit. And then from a team standpoint, it's like, all right, well, look, bruh, our season, you know, it is what it is. We ain't making it to the playoffs, but just don't look terrible. Like, this is your opportunity to redeem yourself. For those who are unfamiliar with Moody, he was 8 of 9. He came from the Chicago Bears practice squad. He was 8 of 9 on field goal attempts this season. 3 of 3 on extra points.
Game winning field goal success, right?
Yeah, he played against us, and he was released by the Niners. That's where he came from prior to the Bears. Those 6 games that he has for Washington, he got into a fight, or Debo maybe have gotten into a fight with Moody before. I don't think Debo is in any type of mood to be fighting Jake. So for his worth and for his sake, you can miss as many as you want. I think Debo knows the season is over. So I think he's safe in terms of being harmed by his teammates. So now that that's out of the way, I think about priority signings, right? Or re-signings. And before I dive specifically into Washington, let's revisit some former teammates, or former commanders that have moved on to different areas, right? Cam Curl let go, went to LA. Emmanuel Forbes let go, has been in LA. Derek Forrest let go, went to Buffalo. I actually don't know exactly where Derek Forrest is right now because he wasn't in Buffalo for long. God damn, shut up. So Derek Forrest made this tweet today, and I would retweet the shit out of it like 1,000 times. Granted, I don't think he's the best cover safety in the position that Ron had him. Is like this post safety, right? I think he's like a box guy. I'm in a sense, but the tweet that he made, and y'all let the twat. Lord Jesus, let me share my screen. So I'm saying Twitter and clowns at the same time. All right, here we go. This is what he said. All right, y'all let the clowns on X convince y'all I couldn't cover or tackle. And we know who this was a tweet about. And then hold
All right, whoop your ass, bro.
Oh, she's over here about a power source, bro. She's about to plug everything out. And we about to end the stream. All right. Now I can log back in. I'm sorry. So, this entire season has been about missed tackles and bad coverage. So I can only conclude that he sneaked this in the same team that cut him, and he sneaked this them back then too. So I think about not necessarily Derek Forrest, but he is in the mix, right? But like, there's people, because I said it 1,000 times on this show before. I don't know if there's a right or wrong. I think in due time we'll know. Like we'll have a solid opinion on Adam Peters' decision making, right? I think that's fair enough. Like in due time, I'm talking about year 3, year 4. If he makes it to year 4, because it can this all season, gotta see. But we'll see where it goes. But my thing is, when I think about how things have gone from the previous regime, they were quick to get rid of anybody and everybody associated with the prior regime. Only a few people made the cut moving forward. Derek Forrest didn't make the cut. Cam Curl didn't make the cut. Brian Robinson got lucky, but ultimately they wanted more out of that position.
Might have locked her out, bro. I locked my dog.
Yeah. Go. The floor is yours, but I think you kind of get the point. I'm saying they were quick to let a lot of people go. I think ultimately you're not making the wrong decision with majority of the players, but at the same time, you look at some players and you sit here and say, like, yo, like how bad were they for you to say we can do better at that position?
But the problem with the NFL, and this is a widespread thing, is you don't really, in this era specifically, you don't really have a lot of time to judge players anymore. Like, I mean, the development, if a guy isn't great, or if a guy doesn't look or show you flashes of great out the breaks, everyone's ready to move on from them. And then the problem is you got a new regime that comes in. They don't they typically new regimes want their own guys. They want to lose or win with their own guys. Yeah. And that's what I kind of caution fans. We got some fans in the chat, like AJ, he's not here, but they would like to fire Adam Peters. And you probably will find yourself in 2 years. Let's say you fire Adam Peters after this year. You'll probably find yourself in 2 years with a new regime who came in and looked at Adam Peters' roster and got rid of all these guys and blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to have fans smoke, oh, Josh Connolly up here balling for the Rams. This new regime ain't know what they doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, for me, I like to let this regime at least get a couple of, maybe a year or two more under their belt to say what it is or what it isn't. Because at the very least, I do think this regime or any regime that drafts their own players or brings their own guys in, they're going to kind of see those guys out, especially the young guys. They're going to kind of see them through and let them develop before they say, yeah, we don't have anything in this guy. But when you come into a roster, you look at the whole roster from the top down. I didn't draft this guy. Then you may get a first look at him and say, yeah, we can get rid of this guy. And that's probably what happened with your Emmanuel Forbes. Cam Curl was a little different because he was a free agent when they came in. So
and they chose to move on from him. That was just ignorant, honestly. Not to say that you didn't, like, you could have let him like test the market, but like he was a productive player, and for him to go to LA and be a starter for what, the last 2-3 years, I don't remember how long it's been. 2 years. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. But for him to be a starter for the last 2 years, like, that ought to tell you just how valuable another team like feels that he is, and he's on a Rams defense that is a top 10 defense in the NFL. And he's their starting safety, and he's been their starting safety.
And in Cam's case, I mean, I want to give him a little leeway to say that they probably didn't want to commit to long-term funds or at least a more than a 2-year deal with a guy that they weren't sure about,
think about how much.
Yeah, I was going to say, but to be fair to them, I was going to say, to be fair to them, they didn't miss Cam Curl last year. Because, I mean, you had Jeremy Chin and you had Quan Martin. The problem is this year, you let Jeremy Chin walk, you bring in Will Harris, he gets hurt. Now everybody at the safety position looks bad. Now we're back to talking about Cam Curl.
I understand that angle, right? Yeah. And like from that perspective, I completely agree with you, because it's like whataboutisms, or what if, whatever that term is called, right? But the idea of committing to Cam Curl, he was a free agent, but the idea of committing to Cam Curl is you get him on a 2-3 year deal. Guess who's still your strong safety?
Cam Curl.
It's Cam Curl.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about signing dudes to 1 year deals. So that's kind of the conundrum that Washington faced early on, and they had decisions to make. So like, I want to reiterate for people that's listening to this conversation, because I don't like when people like go back to the past about certain things and certain decisions. But I also just think it's fair because of the huge amount of turnover that they went through when they took over. Like, that's a big deal. They essentially said that the entire roster prior to them taking over wasn't good enough, which happens to be true. But was everybody bad? No. So it's like, now we look at those guys and we see like, what could you have stabilized in certain positions? And I think that is kind of worth a conversation at the very least. It's just like thinking about that. Not to dwell on it, because you got to look forward to, like, Will Harris is eventually coming back. He's gonna play a couple games this season. I don't know how many he's gonna play. But he's in that practice window. So he's gonna play a couple games this year. And I think he's actually on a 2-year deal. So you have an opportunity with Will Harris to, help shape things. Emmanuel Forbes, he's getting a lot of attention because, like, he's in the algorithm now, honestly, Dre. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah. I think he's having a solid season, but like, I do think that's a person. Two things. I don't think you miss him. I don't miss Emmanuel Forbes personally. But I think what happens when you have him is like, you at least get to hang on to a first round pick and see where he goes if you at least played out the full length of his contract. And that's not to say that what he's doing in LA now, it would have ever came to fruition here in Washington. I'm more so saying Like, what would that have looked like if they would have gave Forbes more time or even invested more from a coaching standpoint to make sure that he was on point. So that's kind of where I'm at with Forbes. I personally don't miss him. I am happy that he's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, and he played a little bit last year. I think he even had an interception last year in one of the games, the Carolina game, but they never
Tampa.
really.
Oh no, my bad. I'm tripping. Not Tampa.
Yeah,
it
was
Tampa.
One of those games. He ended up having a pick in one of those games. I mean, and I think a lot of fans are probably talking about it, Emmanuel Forbes, because you see him kind of going out there in LA. He's making plays, and then you look at this defense, you don't really have any playmakers. Like, even we talk about Mikey Sanders, who's had a bad year, but we're all like, well, he's the only guy that can make a play on the ball. So, I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, when things aren't going well, you start looking around and saying, well, where did we go wrong? Who did we let go? And I just think Washington just has to see this through. Now, I do think, we talk about those 1-year deals on like a Jeremy Chin not being here. This is where this is where it's going to get interesting for Josh Harris and Adam Peters, because the philosophy has to change this free agency. I don't think you could go into this free agency or this offseason with the plan to be, we're going to have all 1-year deals, or we're going to kind of seek all of these 1-year deals. You're going to really have to go out there and start solidifying guys that you feel like can be a part of your roster for years. That doesn't mean go out there and get the old guys, because that's what they've been kind of going. They're going to stopgap route. They're going to 1-year contract route. And I think that's because they don't want to tie up funds or so for the next couple of years. But what you can't do is you can't go out there and you can't have another season like you did this season, especially when you got the quarterback that you think you have. And you want to go out there and you want to be competitive, and you also want to have depth, because this season has shown you that the injuries, which we have withstood a lot. We've had a lot of injuries, probably more so than a lot of other NFL teams, if not more than every other NFL team. But Washington couldn't withstand those injuries at all because the depth wasn't there. And we knew the depth wasn't there. We were just hoping we weren't going to get hit with the injury bug, which we did. So
question. Yeah. Let's put it this way. Let's give our honest opinion. Percentage-wise, how heavy of a factor did injuries weigh on the season's demise? What percentage do you give to injuries?
I mean, you have to say at least 50%, because when you talk about the injuries, you're talking about the who's. I mean, we talk about the depth, but when you got a Jaden Daniels missing most of your games, and this was the guy who we all said this is the one who could, at the very least, put the team on his back, and he can make everything go. He can make all systems go. You haven't had a lot of Jaden Daniels this year. That's a big impact. Terry McLaurin, the guy who had the offseason holdout, your best wide receiver on the football team, he's played, 3 games this whole season? But at the end of the day, you still don't expect to be as bad as you are with the injuries, because you do have a solid backup quarterback. You have one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. Marcus Mariota can still go out there and win you a game or two when you need it. But the problem is, everything else just didn't look concise. Like, I didn't see the same urgency from this team as I seen last year. When I say urgency, that starts with the coaching staff. We talked about this going all the way back to the Green Bay Packers game. When we were pissed, during the post-game review. Like, man, why didn't Dan Quinn have better clock management here? Why were we kicking field goals when we normally go for 4-for-1s here? The defensive scheme, just the defense in general, they took a step back and they weren't good last year. Injuries or not, you got guys running wide open most plays. You got guys confused on most snaps, and 2 guys chasing 1 receiver, leaving 1 receiver open. That's not talent. That's just something mental, completely mental. And a lot of the stuff was mental this year. That's not injuries or anything. You just lost the assignment. Now, who that's on, whether it's coaching, relaying, whatever, whether that's the players, that's not a talent issue. That's something that's mental. That's something that may be schematically related, so you probably have to put that as 25%. But for the most part, injuries, I'm gonna definitely say injuries is 50% at the most. Because that's the big pie chart. Like, you can't do a lot with what Washington lost this year. Maybe some teams with better depth can withstand what Washington went through, but Washington didn't have the depth. So Washington couldn't withstand what they went through. So you got to put injuries pretty high up there when you talk about the percentage of the blame chart this year.
Yeah. Shout out to Moneyball, because he gave me a compliment. I don't even know what he's talking about, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you, sir, Your comment is
Mo, I'm gonna let you know. I talked to Moneyball on Twitter. He lies about who he is, but I talk to him pretty often on Twitter.
Oh, you know who he is?
He says all the same things on here that he says on Twitter.
Oh, you picking up his language.
I know who he is,
okay.
man. Like, yeah, I talk to him.
All right. Where are we at? What's up, Fuad? Peacecraft. Sometimes people need a new change of scenery. I'm sure that has something to do with Cam and Emmanuel Forbes conversation. Peacecraft mentioned Joey Sly. I think that's like part of saying that's worth the conversation in terms of past players. I think Joey Sly is one. I mean, Zane Gonzalez, again, I'm not super high on Zane, but like he was here and part of the winning, right? Like he wasn't a problem when he was here. And I'm sure people had something to say about his kickoffs, but end of the day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. John Dotson, Peacecraft said is worth the conversation as well. To the conversation of injuries, let's see what the chat is saying. 33%. Fuad is very low on like that. And I understand where that 33 comes from. 33%. Ben says 80. Monty says 80. Kenny says 80. Jay Tizzy says 60. I'm actually at 60. Oh no, so he changed his mind. He said 75%. I'm at 60. Yeah, I'm at 60% injuries. Where are we at? Roster was still bad, and Wick clearly not a good play caller. I think those are all factors. I agree. But when we talk about, I hope I still have the numbers saved in my bookmarks. I'm gonna do a quick scroll. I'm not gonna do a long scroll. Let's see. Nope, I don't have it in terms of the injuries. But there's a lot of starters who missed a lot of games in terms of combined time and combined players in terms of the injuries and games missed. So I think that's all important, right? When you got that much time missed, like you got to think about that. So I will say that's why I weigh the injuries more heavily. And on top of that, this is a roster, as you said, Dre, is top heavy. Like we've always been saying that here on this show, at least, like especially in certain positions, like once they go down, it's over. And what's even worse about this season is that once they went down, their backup went down, and their backup's backup went down. So that's what really hurts. But I do think what's important is understanding that there was still some coaches that got in the way of being successful.
Yeah.
I think this 6-game stretch is going to highlight either Dan Quinn's ability to elevate the players or the true status of the roster. I did initially think that this could backfire on Dan Quinn in terms of him taking over play calling this early, but I actually came down off that opinion because I think it's more reflective on other elements of the team. I don't think Dan Quinn will be in any trouble or will look any type of way if this defense doesn't look better. But another thing though, that's important. I said it post game, Dre. Like they looked like they were playing faster. Like missed tackles aside. I mean, you can't ignore them. I don't want to. I want to make sure that's known. You can't ignore the missed tackles. But I'm saying from snap to whistle, they played faster. They knew where they were supposed to be. There was still some explosive plays allowed in the run game. Plenty of them. Devin A-Chain is a dog. But there was still some explosive plays allowed in the run game. But for the most part, like, there was some different elements to this defense that Dan Quinn was like, we're going to make sure that we implement these, but we're also going to make sure that we have our eyes looking forward and not backwards in terms of like where the quarterback is. Let's scroll through some more.
I was gonna say, what do you think about Dan Quinn's comments about Quan Martin? I thought and I missed that actually.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
And I saw that, and that's AJ would have loved this conversation, but he pretty much kind of said, with the Quan Martin thing, we had to make some corrections there. And I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, now what does this look like for the rest of the season? Are we going to see Quan Martin's snaps start to drastically decrease? Because that was the guy they all came out before this season. Him, Joe Witt, anybody who asked him, and they didn't even have to ask him Quan Martin's name. They came out and voluntarily told you this guy he's gonna have a breakout season. Like they clearly expected a lot more out of Quan Martin than they got this season. So it was really interesting for me to see Dan Quinn kind of publicly. He don't normally do this. Like he publicly came out and said we had to make some corrections there. I mean, that's the nicest way of saying this dude ain't it on the field. And you see it like with Quan Martin. I know some people, now this is one thing I'm not really going to blame coaching for. And I've had my issues with the coaching staff this year, but I can't blame coaching for poor effort on tackles or, bad angles, which we've seen routinely with Quan Martin this year. And, even him just not being in the right place at the right time, he just hasn't been impactful. And I remember, shout out to Linnell, I listened to Linnell's radio show before the season started. Linnell and him, he had a whole segment about Quan Martin and how he's been one of the better players. The segment was, which player do you expect more out of this season? And I remember responding to him. I said, I expect more out of Quan Martin. And people kind of jumped on me. Oh, Quan wasn't the problem. Quan wasn't bad. I said, I didn't say Quan Martin was bad. What I said was I expect more out of Quan Martin, because what I watched out of Quan Martin last season, he was there. Like, he wasn't bad, but he also wasn't impactful on a consistent basis. I wanted to see him take that leap. This year, not only did he not take the leap, he regressed. He went from, in my opinion, okay to bad, to the point where now I'm looking at free safety as a top 3 priority going into the next offseason. But I just thought that was really interesting to hear from Dan Quinn, because you don't typically hear that. So it's not like just the fans are just seeing this. This is a thing the coaches are noticing too. And it's going to be interesting to see that situation going forward.
Shout out to Moneyball for the contribution, showing some love. I don't know. What are we doing, Dre? What are we doing today for Moneyball to be complimentary of this show?
I know he real nice.
He already sneaked this us already previously before I
you're going to do that. That's expected.
Yeah, he said something. He said, don't mention something about Jahan Dotson, because Travis
he loves Jahan Dotson.
I'm like, yeah,
I think Moneyball want Ron Rivera back too. I think he wants Ron Rivera to GM back.
I don't say that name. I don't say his name. I just call it the previous regime. But for those who are unfamiliar with what Dre is speaking of, and his presser, not post game presser, but his presser, his Monday after.
Tell the truth
Mondays. Quan Martin not playing his usual amount. Dan Quinn said, yeah, it's just a change in personnel. It was just some corrections that had to be made, and so came back to playing it. But yeah, we just wanted to make some corrections to get it right. A 1-sentence thing, 2-sentence statement, I guess, at most. But yeah, I won't dwell on it too much. But I think the staging where you're talking about, or not. Let me put it this way: you are not sugarcoating. You're not being blunt, but you're not sugarcoating the actual situation. You're allowing reporters, media, fans to read in between the lines of what you're actually saying through your words. I think if you get to that point with a player, you should know they're in trouble. And you better step your shit up, because I got to make sure I know that you're here for the long term, especially as a starter.
That's the real call out. Remember, AJ thought that them praising him was the call out for Quan to play better. No, to me, this was the call out. Like, bro, you got 6 games left to get your shit straight. This is going to be one of them things we put on that Santa's needs list for Adam Peters.
Let's go through some more. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's take a break right quick, because then we got to circle back. Let's go ahead and talk about these people over here, Underdog Fantasy. Look, man, football season is in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your team or your favorite players will go higher or lower, such as stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. So typically on the Commanders show, we do Thursday night football. And this week we got Buffalo and Houston. Dre, we both did pretty good, I think, this weekend, right?
Yeah. I had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, we had a pretty good weekend. Let's see, man. I'm gonna give you 2 players. I'm gonna do 2 players. So let's start with James Cook. We're gonna do James Cook for you, because Houston defense pretty good. So if you wrong, I'm gonna blame you. Rushing yards, higher or lower? 73.5.
I'm going lower.
Lower, okay. 73.5. We're gonna go lower for James Cook. Let's do one more for you. We're gonna do one from the Texans. We're gonna go with. No, I won't say that for me. Schultz.
You saving the good stuff for you.
Dalton Schultz. His number is at 38.5. We're gonna go higher or lower.
You know what? I got Dalton Schultz on my fantasy team, so I'm gonna say higher just for my own sake. My own bias and my own sake. We're going higher.
Okay. All right. So I am going to move forward to, let's see, Khalil Shakir, 45.5 receiving yards. I am going to go higher. I think he may be the only one on that team that gets over 40 receiving yards. So I'm gonna go higher on Khalil Shakir. And then for Houston, where is Nick Collins? All right, there we go. I said Nico Collins. He's at 74.5 receiving yards. I am going to go higher on Nico Collins as well. I don't know how they do it in Houston, but boy, if they don't.
Is Davis Mills playing this week?
Yeah, Davis is playing. They find a way to get him the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and rock out with Nico. I'm going to give him higher on his 74.5 receiving yards. Okay. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code TRIBALDIVE to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That is promo code TRIBALDIVE. You get $100 in bonus entries when you play your first 5. Underdog, make picks, win money.
18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Mute them all.
Let's go ahead and first off, let me tell you something. We done said his name a few times, man. So we done summoned up the very individual that people have been talking about, looking for, thinking about. Let's go ahead and get AJ on the show, bro.
Mr. Madrid himself.
Madrid.
What's good? What's good?
Boy, where are you at?
Man, I just landed in Detroit at Customs right now, so.
Yeah, Customs, boy, you look like you on a PlayStation. Like if you
What you mean? Like it's blurry?
Yeah, it's blurry.
You on the original PlayStation, bro.
Hold on, I'm gonna wipe the camera. I was just on a 9-hour flight? I don't even know, bro.
Well, you back in the States, bro. So
I ain't get no sleep.
it's all good, man. You ain't gotta get no sleep, bro. You had yourself a move. You had yourself a trip, bro. All right, well, Jay Tizzy said, "Oh shit, we got."
All right.
got Trick Daddy in the house.
He lucky I'm tired right now. I'm gonna cook him on Thursday though.
All right, let's get to it, bro. So second half of the show, we are tapping into actually before because we were going to do priority re-signings and we started kind of moving around, which is fine, perfectly fine. Let's do CRod conversation because that's quicker, and then we'll close out with our priority re-signings for the team. Part of actually that kind of holds in on the conversation that we had prior to our ad break, Dre, was like we talked about how the current regime was kind of, they were giddy, they were anxious or really eager is the right word to get rid of the older players. And you can even see it in CRod in the sense how they're quick to like reduce his snaps and Like last year, he was on the practice squad for so much time up until certain players got hurt. This year, like all it took was for Bill to have a like 2 big games, and they said, CRod, sayonara. We ain't gonna put you on the practice squad, but you ain't getting no more snaps, right? I think that game against Miami for Chris Rodriguez at the very least ought to like solidified. Hopefully, like, do you have faith? Is probably a good question to start. Do you have faith that Washington is going to give CRod a proper chance, whether or not like he is the future running back for Washington? Is like that's a different conversation. But at least this season, I think he's shown consistently that he is your most productive running back. So, do you think he'll get that proper opportunity during these last 6 games?
I mean, I think he's shown that he can be a contributor in the league, but he's not the lead dog. Like at the end
On
of the
this
day,
team,
yeah, for this team, he's not the lead dog. But
who's the lead dog right now?
I think it's still by committee because I really feel like Cliff has been forced to even
Well,
play him.
So the question was tailored because like you gotta like for him to be like shoved away to the side for Bill, like we know that it wasn't by committee, right? Like we know for a brief period or even an extended period of time, it wasn't by committee. It was primarily Bill. So like the question of getting a fair shot, it doesn't have to be him getting like 20 carries a game. But even this game, he showed that he could tote and he was effective, and you still stopped giving him the ball. You gave his carries to Bill. So I guess that's kind of the basis or the genesis of my question is like, are they going to realize or give like Chris a fair opportunity to show that he can be effective with the amount of carries that you're willing to give the committee? Like, can you give him 10 carries if the committee's getting 5 apiece? Can you give him the 10? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of where I'm going.
I mean, I guess if you saying it that way, yeah, he'll get majority of the carries going forward. But I mean, I guess when you ask the question, I was looking at 2026. I just don't see him as like a vocal point, but I feel like he's made a stamp for himself career-wise that he can be a contributor in this league. That's what I was more so getting to.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to follow up on that, going forward, I don't think you really have a choice because Chris Rodriguez has shown you the most at this point, especially when you talk about this portion of the season. Like, Bill flamed early, Bill flashed early. Now, for a rookie, we can go back to Bill in college. He played 1 game last year. He may not have been ready for the NFL rigors, the rigors of the NFL. And he hasn't shown you at least at this portion of the season, what he's shown you earlier in the season. Whereas Chris Rodriguez, I think he's only shown you that every time he gets the carries that he's going to be productive. And this is not even just this year. This is going back to since Chris Rodriguez has been here as a Washington Commander, Washington football, whatever. However long he's been here, he's been productive. And last game should have shown you enough to say, well, yeah, this should be the guy, at least for this year going forward. That's the guy you have to, kind of put ahead of that running back group because you kind of have been running back committee throughout the whole year, except Chris Rodriguez hasn't got his fair share. You've had Bill, you've had J-Mac, those guys have been getting their carries, but neither one of those guys have stood out over the course of the season to say, this is your lead back. Whereas Chris Rodriguez, when you're talking about this portion of the season and what he's done for you as his body of work since he's been here, I mean, the guy's only produced. Like, what else does he have to do at this point to kind of earn trust? Now, I mean, you could talk about, them not liking him or whatever, Cliff, whatever, but he's producing. Like, and if a guy's producing, you have to give that guy his earned opportunity. He's earned it at this point. He sat out, he waited, he sat there and watched the other backs get their carries. Now you call his number, he comes in, he's ready to produce. So at least for this portion of the season, now we're not talking about 2026. Or 2026, you can go out and acquire a different back, whatever you want to do. But at least for this 2025 season, for the remainder of it, I do believe Chris Rodriguez has earned to be the lead back for this group.
Hey, one thing I'll take away from like actually being at the game on Sunday, like Miami's run game, commitment, and how it's drawn up looks so different than what Commanders does.
Yeah.
Like it's day and night. Like you got toss plays. You got so many different motions to get the fullback in goal in position to help block. Like you got so many different like counters, whatever. It's just different from an overall standpoint. And I think, even to throw in there that goal line play. I mean, Cliff was so predictable, bro. Anytime he brought in Brandon Coleman as an eligible receiver, they were running to that side. Like, take the Marcus Mariota QB sweep. Like, it's just, yeah, it was. I think that's the main issue with the running game, honestly. It's just the lack of creativity, utilizing the players and also the linemen and their athleticism.
Cliff don't want to run the ball. That's the real issue. Cliff wants to go out there and run Cliff's offense, which is that air raid. We go out, we pass, but Cliff don't have that personnel, and that's kind of the issue we've been talking about. Is that Cliff is not really adjusting to the personnel that he has at this point. Cliff still wants to run, but Cliff wants to run, and they aren't getting creative in the run game. And I mean, that's what you see. Mike McDaniel, they did run clinics on Washington in the run game.
Priority re-signings. We're heading into the bye week at this point. We've seen 11 games, so we've seen majority of the games that they played to this point. The last 6 games is going to be a big deal for several free agents, but we're talking about a team who is, I think, going into free agency with like 28, 27 free agents. That's half your roster for the most part, fellas. So when you think about priority re-signings and who Washington ought to be focusing on, and when I say re-signings, I'm also talking about people who are up for extensions as well. So that includes like Laramie Tunsil, who's under contract beyond 2025. But where are we at in terms of who are the people that need to get offers after this season based on how this season has went?
So, Mual, I don't want to. I mean, Laramie Tunsil, I'm just going to say he goes without saying. I do think that's a guy you want to extend, but I don't want to get too deep into the extensions because I don't have that pulled up and see who's eligible for that yet.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, discuss. I'll bring them up. Yeah, I was doing that too. So
that's fine. That's fine. But I will say for priority, it's not many for me because as I'm looking at the free agents for Washington for this upcoming offseason, most of these dudes are the older dudes. The guys you want to kind of push out of here at this point. But for me, priority-wise, Chris Paul will be number one on that list. Like, you have to bring him back. He's eligible to be an unrestricted free agent this season. I thought he's played solid. At the very least, he's great depth on the offensive line. Chris Paul has to be near the top of that list. My other guy would definitely be Jake Martin. Jake Martin, at the very least, could be a good rotational third down pass rusher, whatever. I mean, he's shown he can even step in and be a starter, but ideally you don't want him to be a starter, but that's a guy you want on your roster. Like Jake Martin, I definitely think needs to be back. And, it's scant going through this list because a lot of these guys I really don't want back. I mean, I might have said Dietrich Wise if he was healthy, but he's coming off an injury and he's going to.
You on desktop?
Yeah, I'm on desktop.
All right, here. So you can have the list. I'm gonna send it to the private chat.
That's fine.
And you can bring that up. It's right there.
My last guy, I said Chris Paul and I said Jake Martin. Those are my 2 guys for extensions. I'm gonna go with I think Noah. You can bring him back as a good depth guy. I think he's a solid 5th cornerback at the least. And I'm about to check your private chat now.
I think he wasted a year here. I think he probably feels like he wasted a year here.
Because he probably feels like he could be at least a number 3 guy somewhere else. And he's pretty much been number 4, number 5 all year. So, yeah.
Shit, he ain't even seeing the field. He just started seeing the field this year. I mean, this year.
With the injuries.
Yeah. So, like that, and that's where I mean, like, sure, he's probably been like a 4 or 5 for sure on, like, the paper, and he's primarily special teams. But, yeah, I'm sure he's like, bro, I just played 60-70% of the snaps for y'all last year, and like I did a solid job. I wasn't great, I wasn't perfect. I did a solid job, and you telling me that I went from that to not even sniffing the field? Yeah, let me see what else is out there, bro. Because I know somebody's seen my 2024 tape and is interested in seeing what I got for them or competing for like a number 3 role.
Yeah, absolutely.
AJ. Yeah, AJ, where you at?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris Paul is a rotational piece that you could bring back. Um, Jacob Martin, it all depends on what type of scheme you still gonna run, but I mean, I think that he could be a contributor. The only other person I probably would say is Debo. I think when you look at the wide receiver like availability next year, free agency wise, he's the top guy, and I think he could fit into any offensive scheme. It's just more so what's going to happen at OC if Cliff is going to be there or not. But that's truly how I see it. I mean, I think he can definitely be. If Adam Peter keeps a job, he ain't bring him here just for a 1 year rental. So I mean, y'all keep seeing how he keep diving right back into San Fran, from Drake Jackson to Jake Moody. Yeah, it's
Well,
gonna keep going. He got a plan with his
Well,
guys
well,
from
Ron
San Fran.
Ron dug in with Carolina, so I
Huh?
mean, I said Ron dug in with Carolina. Like
Yeah,
now,
but I
I'm
think,
more so, and that's not a criticism. I'm more so acknowledging like, of short, they going to dig into what they know. They going
well, can I
that's
can
what they
I
going.
can I ask AJ what would you give Debo as a not even talking about money more so years wise. I mean, I guess
I
you
give
could
him
look at
another
this.
one. I offer him a 1 year deal, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If you do
I ain't
that,
giving
you
him
have to
nothing more
do
than
1 year. You have to do 1 year, right?
I mean, you could do a 3 year deal with
No.
a void
a
with a void.
fire
No,
AP, fire AP the next day.
no. What I'm saying is it's a 3 year deal, but it's really a two. The third is a void year.
Fire AP the next day. I
But
give him 1 year.
reason I
That's
bring
it.
that up is because if you're obviously gonna have Terry back next year unless you just do something drastic and trade him. Then you sign Debo back. What else do you do a wide receiver? Because I still think you need more at that point. Like you
Bro,
need something
I mean,
else.
you're gonna be
that's what's
drafting
frustrating,
anyways,
bro.
but it's just like at the end
We
of the
don't have a lot
day,
of draft picks.
yeah, you don't. But more than likely, your first round pick is gonna be utilized on a wide receiver. Like
No, it ain't.
I don't think it's
Not
most
more
that
than
would,
likely.
I
likely.
If
It's
mean,
you
not.
need
I'm
an
That's not
edge
no
I'm
rusher,
with.
guarantee,
do.
bro.
I've been saying that for a while. That's what I'm betting on
But
because
you
at
need
the
an
end,
edge. You need so much more than a wide receiver.
Bro, they
I
yeah,
got
want a
but
wide
you
receiver too.
there's plenty of wide receivers in free agency who offers more nuance than what Debo Samuel provides. I
come
think
on,
Debo,
name them,
I think Debo Samuel is like elite at what he does in terms of yak. I think he's
bro.
elite
Name
at what he
them,
does in terms of a contestant catch. But at the same time, you're talking about uh, a person who doesn't really lack he's not like a nuanced route runner. Like he's not a person who is creating separation at the top of the route, except for a chicken wing like forearm thing. Like Christian Kirk is a guy I studied. That's easy for me to sit here and say. If you want somebody who can create separation, you need a guy that's in a slot. Christian Kirk can do that for you. Problem is, I'm not advocating for him because he stays hurt. He's like Noah Brown. So like I'm saying in terms of a name, skill wise, that's the type of player I would go for. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go for him because I know his injury history. Like you can't trust him as far as you can throw, as far as you can see him. There's other people out there. Marquise Brown, if you're talking about a person, or Hollywood Brown, if you're talking about a person who can really threaten all three levels of the field, that's another person. I'll stop there, bro, because like this is an off-season topic, but I think my main point in saying I'm okay with moving on from Debo is like if you're here after you've seen this season and you know that there is nobody on this roster, whether Terry was here or not, like on the field, that is creating separation consistently for your quarterback, which includes Debo because he's only missed one game, I think.
Yeah.
There are plenty of other routes that you can go in terms of building your receiving core. You can shove everybody else to the side, keep your knees twos, which is Terry because he's contractually obligated at least for one more season. Your third year player in Luke McCaffrey, your second year player in Jalen Lane. That's it. Figure out who else is going to be your number two, number three, but how are you going to retool it in terms of the structure? Are you going to get a taller guy who can most the shit out of niggas? But he has a little bit of route running nuance to him. Are you going to get doesn't matter the frame, but a person who can create separation and is super smart in terms of like how to play coverages, how to manipulate a cornerback. Like, what is the makeup of your receiving core? And I think if you talk about Debo is just a person who like just get the ball in his hands. And you need a coordinator who can scheme the shit out of Debo as opposed to like having your receiver make plays for you. Not to say that both doesn't work hand in hand. Like that's perfect if you get a receiver who can do his own thing, but also have a coordinator who can put him in multiple positions. But like I don't see anybody on this roster, including Terry, that you can like scheme around because he's super nuanced as a receiver. And yeah, I'm okay with starting over.
I think the conversation really is almost kind of immature to have, just from a time standpoint, because I believe that a change is gonna happen at OC. So, and when I say that,
Wandale
meaning he's gonna
Robinson.
take another job. Like, if you bring in a certain guy, gonna have a certain look for his offense, and I mean, I think that he's
Alec
still a
Pierce.
playmaker.
But if you
And
talking about a
I
certain guy,
also know who's available free agency wise. It's not good wide receivers available free agency
but
wise.
it's a group that
Yeah,
can make you better,
I don't
right?
like that.
I mean,
Everybody believe that. I mean, everybody say stuff like George Pickens is in free agency. Not to say that he may not go back to Dallas, but like I hate when people say that, and it's not just on AJ specifically. It's more so because it's so like free agency classes are so in depth, bruh. Like people who flash and that was a free agent, like some people don't even realize it until like middle of the season, and you find out this new addition was like one of the best free agent signings that the team had this offseason. Like, and you find that out like because you watch the team or you see them in a primetime game or something like that. Like people don't know how in depth a receiving class or even a free agency class is at a certain position because they don't study everybody. Like you really got to understand some of these players, and I just don't like that thing
I
because
mean,
people say that about the draft too. Like people say about a position, not receiver. I'm just saying a position. They're not that deep in this class. Like y'all don't fucking study it, bro. Y'all don't study it. Y'all
Brad,
don't know, bro.
the best free agent wide receiver pickup this offseason has been Stephon Diggs. Like
I agree. Oh wait, let me
it's
go
just
back.
not a deep class, bro. Like
it's
I feel
never
like
going to be a
certain
deep
players
class,
match
though,
with
is it?
Jaden's skill set the best, and I just think that it really depends on who's going to be the OC. If it is, you know, Mike McCarthy, maybe he has a different look. If it is a Mike McDaniels, he has a different look. If it is someone within,
Devontae
you know, the
Adams, Stephon
internal.
Diggs, like those are people that was some
But
big
see,
dogs that made impacts.
for the
So,
Mike for the Mike McDaniel, Mike
Rondale got hurt,
McDaniel,
unfortunately.
Mike McDaniel's offense works best when he has a dude that can take the top off the defense, which is a Tyreek Hill. You know, we don't have that. Terry can beat a guy over top sometimes. Yes, he can do that. But I think Terry's more of a great contested catch type of guy. Washington doesn't have on the roster at this point anyone that can take the top off the defense. And you don't necessarily need the best of the best to do that. You just need a guy that specializes in doing that. So I think a lot of times when people look at a free agent class, they'll look at a free agent class and say, this guy isn't a number one, or this guy isn't a Justin Jefferson, this guy's in a Jamar Chase. But I think you could find in every free agent class, especially when you look at a Washington Commanders wide receiver group, you could find people within a free agent class that can make a Washington wide receiver group better. AJ laughed at me last year when I said Darius Slayton can make this wide receiver group better. And he probably would have this year. He's
I'm
the type of
still
guy that can
laughing.
make. I mean, but that type of dude, he would be probably better than a lot of what Washington has right now, and that's probably what you're going to see in this free agency class. You're not going to see Odell Beckham in his prime, or those great wide receivers that's going to take your wide receiver group from what Washington has now to what a Cincinnati Bengals has now. But what you will find is guys that can make you better, and I'm talking about availability too, because that's a big thing. Because Washington probably thought they were going to be better this year, because they probably factored in a Noah Brown and a Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin, I'm not going to add him into that group because he's rarely ever injured. This is the first time we've ever seen Terry injured in his life. But Noah Brown, they definitely included him as a guy that will make this wide receiver group better. But Noah Brown is rarely ever available, and he hasn't been available all season. So one thing Washington has to identify, at least in my opinion, as far as trying to make this wide receiver group better, especially when you talk about having limited picks, Get some guys in free agency, and there's going to be guys out there in free agency. They can make this wide receiver group better, but their best ability is availability as well. You can't rely on the Noah Browns of the world. You have to rely on guys that can be available and that can make this group better. And then there's guys out there in free agency that can do that. And if Jaden Daniels is healthy, he's going to do work with these wide receivers. But Jaden Daniels hasn't been healthy this season. He hasn't been. We haven't been able to say we can call our superhero and he could take over this office and make everyone better. We haven't had that this season. But if Jaden Daniels is healthy next season, you can find guys within that wide receiver group that can make you better. But my personal opinion is that you have to really get better on defense. I'm sorry. That's just my priority at this point. You have to really get better on defense right now.
Yeah. So one for me, I'll be quick with mine. We didn't mention Chris Rodriguez. He's also a free agent for like the third year in a row. I bring him at just off the strength. He's a restricted free agent too. So like you kind of have some rights there. But bring him back. You mentioned Chris Paul, Dre. I'm with you on Chris Paul. Jake Martin, I'm with you on I'm with you on Jake. I would have said Dietrich before the injury because I know he would have been solid for the team, but now I don't know what his situation looks like because of that injury. So that would probably been the only other one. Tress Way is 35. If he wants to play, keep playing. Like you can play until you 40, bro. So keep bringing back Tress Way. But that's kind of where we are with. I mean, Bobby Wagner's a free agent. He gone. Marcus Mariota, if he wants to play, I'm sure he loves it here. He speaks highly of Dan Quinn and the coaching staff. So if you want to extend him for another year, bring him back, let him and Jaden rock out again. Outside of that, like you got to significantly invest with that defense, as you mentioned. The tight end group, Zach Ertz is going to be gone. You ain't bringing Zach Ertz back, bro. He's 35. Like it's over for him. And Von Miller is 36. Like he is a spot duty guy. I think there's just certain positions where you got to have a heavy lift. I think that's tight end. And when I say heavy, I mean tight end. Technically speaking, right now, you don't have a heavy lift at receiver because Debo is a person that you can keep around. But I still think you need to retool the receiver position, but it's not a heavy lift. Linebacker, cornerback. Because Marshawn Lattimore, I think at this point, you got to start thinking about his future in Washington with that ACL injury. I don't know if he has any injury clauses or anything like that, but if you can cut him and move on, because I don't think he has any guarantees after 2025, like, bad deal. Goodbye. Like, just go ahead and get rid of him. Yeah, I think defense is going to have that's kind of going to be the biggest conversation. And it's just not just look forward to the offseason. It's more so just evaluating where we are right now. Yeah. I don't know who. I mean, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, he's hurt. He ain't coming back this season. So it's like, who's going to be on that edge for these last 6 games that you can sit here and say from an investment standpoint, I like where we're going. And that's why I think Jake is important. I'm sure he's going to end up earning himself some money somewhere, but it's going to be probably like his last hoorah in terms of his contract. It's good that he signed a 1-year deal here. So it's like you may be fighting a little bit in the offseason for Jake. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, some decisions are gonna have to be made more. But like I said, for me, I can't sit here and watch another year of people telling me, or at least from my own eyes, sitting here watching that you have a defense that can't stop anybody. And I understand you want to get better on offense. I understand you want to have this high-powered thing for Jaden, but I still think Jaden being Jaden, he gives you so much potential and so much maximization of what you can do on offense. But Jaden don't play defense. Jaden can't go out there and play secondary. He can't go out there and rush the passer. Jaden has no control over what happens on the defense. I want Jaden to have more possessions where he is in position to give you a bigger lead versus Jaden having more possessions to play shootout football. That's what I want going forward for Jaden Daniels. I want Jaden Daniels to go out there and say, man, I can make a mistake here because, I know I'm going to get the ball back and I know my defense is going to bail me out. We
You
can't
need
say
that
that right
New
now.
England defense. You need a year or two of what Drake May has.
Give me even what Chicago does. They play opportunistic football. They don't need Caleb Williams to go out there and win football games. And like you said with the New England thing, give me that.
They
Like,
strap.
let's stop saying let's want Jaden to go out there and score 60 points a game. You're not going to score 60 points a game. I don't care who you have on offense, and you probably need that if you have a defense that you're putting out there every week like we have right now. So that's what I really want. That's the biggest weapon Jaden can have right now.
Nah, but I think you need Jaden to have more explosion that matches with his skill set at quarterback, and they don't have that, bro. Like, they don't have that. That's the main thing that they missing offensively.
What does
They're
the
really
Patriots
not
have
taking, like, in
outside of
this offense,
Stephon
they're not
Diggs?
taking no shots
I like
downfield, bro.
Mac Hollins and
Yeah, but
Hunter Henry.
that's a guy you can find a free agency though. That's not a guy you have to draft.
I agree, and he's talented. He was talented in Buffalo.
You don't have to draft Mac Hollins top 5. You didn't draft Stephon Diggs top 5. You didn't draft Travion Henderson top 5. So that's what I'm saying. That's my whole point. And that, Drake May, he had some things around him, but you didn't have to go out there and spend premium picks to get those guys, I want Jaden to have the type of defense that's going to go out there and bail Jaden out and doesn't make Jaden feel like he has to be Superman every play. I want Jaden to know that I can make a mistake, but my defense is going to bail me out. They're going to give me the ball back, and I'm going to go out there and score next possession. That's the best weapon Jaden can have, in my opinion. I'm sorry. That's just me.
Ultimately, I think the bottom line is what we've come to realize as we head into this bye week, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to stop being cheap. Now, that doesn't mean spend $10 billion on 10 different players, but it means, like, when you identified your guys, like, spend that money on them, spend that bag on them folk. And it sounds like we need that on the defense side of the ball. Y'all did mention Treylon Burks. I wonder if he comes back in the Denver game. That'll be interesting. I am intrigued to see, like, what he looks like with Jaden. And I mean, like, him and Terry. Care about Debo. I ain't gonna lie to you at this point. Of course, Debo is gonna be in the mix, but, like, I want to see what Terry and Treylon looks like with Jaden. So I don't know if he comes back against Denver, but eventually, the way it sounds like, he's going to be coming back and playing at some portion of the last few games.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us. Appreciate everybody who tapped in, man. Show some love in the chat. Appreciate y'all. It's been fun, entering you all in the conversation and hearing how y'all feel about this mob tonight. Keep y'all head up. I know it is. We ain't stressing over here. And I know y'all not stressing out either. We'll be back Thursday. Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday. It's bye week, but Thursday, cool.
Yeah.
All 32 back tomorrow. And we'll talk about a few things. AJ should be settled in. He's always on the move, so this ain't nothing new for you all.
Nah, man, it's just
maybe
coming through customs is a pain in the ass, bro. Like, this joint is the dumbest thing in the world. But
did they search you, bro?
Nah, thank God they got the white people this time, not me. But typically, I'm always victim.
Sir, lift your locks.
It'd be like, hey, Trick Daddy, let's search you.
Slip and slide.
Well, man, enjoy the rest of your trip or your voyage back to Virginia.
I'm almost back home. One more flight, leaving Detroit, back to DCA. I'm at the crib.
It is. All right, be safe, bro. Dre, I'll holler at you Thursday. I will tell y'all about why I don't fuck with bro. Like, I don't. I'll tell y'all that when we have a chance to actually talk.
You said that angry text message at 6 in the morning.
Bro,
no context. Context.
I woke up ready to.
I thought I missed the text because I was on the plane.
You didn't, bro. I was just saying that because it's like, because I only hit him up when AJ he asked me 2 times. The last two times I did.
He did.
And like the same result happened, and I'm like, bro, like, all right, put it this way. Matter of fact, let's end the show like this because I got about 4 minutes, so I can talk about it. We'll just keep the name to ourselves. I'm like, every time that I hit him up, bro, like I'm respectful. I don't go out my way. Like I'm even like self-conscious. Like I don't want to pester nobody. Like I'm not no pest. Like, and on top of that, like the person gave me their number, right? So I'm super mindful of that, especially from a status standpoint. I'm not going to like blow your phone up. I'm not going to disrespect your time. Don't disrespect what I got going on over here, bro. And like, I think for that person to have like, he's around in the space, and I'm like, bro, for you to like be available in other spaces, right? Other spaces, I'm like, why is it every time I reach out to you, which is sparingly, it's only been 3 times that I've reached out. Why is it that like when I reach out, there's an excuse here, right? Or one time you did agree to be like, all right, let's do it, and then completely no-show and didn't answer the reconfirmation that I sent out the morning of the show. Like you completely didn't say a word. So this time again, last week, reached out to him. He said, can't do it. And I sent y'all the screenshot for why he said he couldn't do it. I'm like, cool. So I followed up with him and I'm like, yo, like, is this a typical Tuesday for you? Let me know. Cause I'm like, if it's a typical Tuesday, maybe we can do it Thursday. Cause like if you're typically on the road, I'm not about to sit here and like try to schedule you on a Tuesday that you will never be available at this particular time. Didn't get a response back from him. Because I'm like, all right, if you can do Thursday, let's just do Thursday, which was meaning like last week for the game preview. Didn't get a response back. Hit him up yesterday, which is why y'all got a text this morning. I hit him up yesterday. Hit him up yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon. And I'm like, so does this Tuesday work? Since he was on the road last Tuesday, does this Tuesday work? No response. Nothing. So, like, I done sent you a couple text messages. Not only is it this time, Dre, I sent them a couple text messages in previous interactions that have gone unanswered. Like, in my pride, bro, I'm telling you, bro, like, I'm not no sucker, bro. And like, and if I feel like I'm getting disrespected, like, you're not like, it's only but so much before I say something to you. And I know, like, the last time I said something to somebody, AJ got on my ass. And I'm like, bro, like, it don't work like that with me, bro. Because like that's why I said something to you all. I just vented to get that off my chest. Yeah. I'm like, bro, do not tell me to do this, because if you tell me to do this again, bro, I'm a spaz on this. I'm a spaz on this nigga, bro. And like, I'm gonna try to do it in the most respectful manner. But like, it took me everything to not just say, bro, if you don't want to do something, just say no. Don't ignore me, bro, because you're just gonna piss me off, bro. And on top of that, the fact that I know that he be the person, they do like they spend they put their time out there for other shows and obligations. I know that you have your phone on you. You know who I am. Yeah. So don't disrespect me, bro. And like that's where I got teed up. I'm like, bro, don't ask me to do it no more, because I'm not going to do it. And if you ever ask me to do it again, I may be liable to spaz on this dude and completely burn the bridge. And I would be happy to burn the bridge, bro.
Well, I'm just gonna say this and my piece real quick, but I'm glad it was just that, because the way you had sent us that message this morning, I thought some disrespectful shit went down as far as Varsity.
I mean, that is disrespectful though, bro. Because
it is in that standpoint. But I thought the motherfucker said something. I was gonna send a text message like, "Damn, this motherfucker say what something I don't even want him to say." But I mean, sometimes dudes big time motherfuckers like that. It is.
That's literally what's going on, bro. Like I ain't disrespect you, and I could, and I could burn the bridge, but like I ain't disrespect you, bro. And the fact that you got the nerve to big time somebody, bro. Like I don't like none of that.
Mual really mad about this because I done went all the way through TSA, had my phone still running, and he's still talking about it.
But AJ, we was trying to hear about this morning. We wanted to know. I'm about to say.
I said I was going to talk. Oh, you? So did you, I don't think he heard anything. I think he
must have heard it.
Oh yeah, he don't even know. Yeah, I was saying. I said I was going to tell y'all about it later. Then I ended up telling it. So you missed everything, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, guess what? It's over with.
Had to go through TSA, man. Like.
AJ,
when you get back through the States, you go through customs and then TSA again. So
it's all good, bro. Nah, it's no podcast beat, Monty. Trust me, it ain't no podcasters, bro. If you ever met me in person, we may have a conversation about it because it's a few people in the chat that we can have a conversation about. But yeah, it's not a podcast.
Some podcast beef. Let me start naming some of them. Nah, let me stop.
No, you don't. We invited all of them.
We just actually had a lot of the other people that are in the content space, just like us at the Trap or Dive High Social event, the crib. So, like, ain't no beef, bruh. It can't be no beef. It's just, Mual feel like, hey, don't play my time. I won't play with yours. So that's what it is.
Now we're done, bro. Y'all take it easy. AJ, we'll discuss it Saturday at park while we're getting drunk. Y'all be safe. All 32 tomorrow. The fella be back on Thursday. Appreciate y'all checking in. We up out here, man. Peace.
Chop it down. Chop it down, chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Damn, set, watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it up. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on. Keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.